Reina, yes! Finds the bottom corner. Giovanni Reina, just after his 18th birthday, has scored his first goal for the United States in just his second appearance.
What's up, soccer fans? Welcome to the Soccer Brothers podcast. I'm your host, Sahil and I'm joined by my brother, Nihal. Nihal, if you were a dual national, I guess you are a dual national, but if you were a dual national, who would you play for? What international team would you play for?
Yeah, we're both dual nationals, by way of our parents and our grandparents. We're eligible for the United States men's national team and the India men's national team. Honestly, I think it would be a harder decision for me than for you because I think I probably have a stronger connection to India. I don't know. You might want to argue with me on that.
Yeah, I mean, that might be beyond this podcast pay grade, but, definitely you have a stronger connection to the team, for sure.
Yeah, even though you've worked in Indian soccer.
That's true for like a second division non-primary league team. That is true. But shout out Fatah Hyderabad AFC if you're listening to this.
Yeah, so I think I'd be like, in this scenario, am I a good player? Am I someone who's like good, or would I just would I just be like I'm in the U.S. national team pool?
Well, here's the deal, right? You take what you were at your high school level and you scale it. So like, I mean, if you're your best high school player on your team, then you can be Messi. You can have the talent level of Messi in this situation. But you were probably not one of the best players on your high school team.
I didn't play high school soccer.
Yes. But I'm not going to take your indoor soccer team because that's just cheating. And
No. Wait a second. It's not traditional indoor soccer. It was just a soccer field inside. They were still out of bounds.
Okay, whatever. There was out of bounds. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not playing on real grass. You don't have to feel the heat.
Well, okay. I mean, the Seattle Sounders don't play on real grass. Does that mean they're not a team?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so we'll say like I'm a mid-level player, right? I'm a good MLS player. Let's go with that.
Yeah, you would be probably the best player on India's national team, but not on the US's national team.
But would I play for the US?
Okay. You have to earn your way up.
Okay, I guess if I wasn't, it wouldn't even be a choice, would it?
Right.
So I think what I would do, honestly, is I'd be like, Greg, I'm committed to the U.S. national team long term, but it's been my dream to play for India as well. So I'm going to accept a call up to a couple friendlies in India. And everyone would know. It won't be like Indian fans are like, super. Yeah, well, maybe that's mean. I don't know. But I would want to play for India.
Also, I feel like that could just... You could decide that ahead of time, and then you could meet the people at the national team, and then you could definitely change your mind after playing a game.
Based on the team. You're
burning some bridges here,
I like India a lot, but I don't want to travel there every international window. So I think I would, play for them once, play for the Blue Tigers, link up with Sunil Chetri, score a couple goals, and then be on my way to the U.S. men's national team. So, when you go to my Wikipedia, it'll say India 2, and then below it would say USA 200.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you look at a lot of international players, if they play for a team that isn't very good, let's say they play in a big league but don't play for a great national team, sometimes they do just... I think generally don't show much enthusiasm, and that can sometimes show in like the amount of appearances they've had or the amount of times they actually do accept call-ups. So I feel like you can just use that knowledge and maybe understand that like maybe you wouldn't be that enthusiastic to play for India every time if you were.
Look, if I could bring like glory to the Indian national team and just be like an absolute legend, I mean that is something to consider.
But this isn't basketball though. I mean, how are you doing that?
What do you mean, how am I doing that? It's, we bring home a couple AFC Cups. We qualify for one World Cup.
Sure, maybe that you could do. Maybe one player could do that.
I mean, India's national team is up and coming a little bit. I think in one or two World Cups they'll be there at the World Cup. Not
well, that's the kiss of death because I mean I was told that the U.S. was going to wait. What did I forgot what your big claim was, but anyways, it did not happen in the 2018 World Cup as we did not qualify.
Look, I was 4 years too early. I was 4 years too early, right? I knew we were on the brink of a golden generation, but it's here now, and that's what matters.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, I guess we don't know anything, but no, you're right. Like, but I mean, there are players who like choose to play for, lesser national teams that could play for larger national teams. I mean, Serginho Dest for us is one, but Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang plays for Gabon instead of France, which is interesting. I mean, there's a lot of players like that. So
yeah, there are.
I don't know. I don't know how much Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang puts into the Gabonese national team. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good question though. It's a good question. Who would you play for?
Oh, absolutely the U.S.
Okay.
I there's something I definitely like. I definitely sometimes feel maybe more bad than I should just thinking about players like getting a break off from their games. I know they're making a lot of money or whatever in Europe, but then like just traveling all the way to the U.S., probably a little jet lagged, having to play 2 games, play with a bunch of players they've never played with, and then go back and then play again in cup games and domestic league games. Just generally. So that would be even worse if I had to travel all the way to India, I feel like, assuming I'm playing like in MLS or something like that. But I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're in Europe, it's like the same almost.
Yeah, it is. I guess it is the same, but
I mean, it's not. If you're playing on the East Coast of the U.S., this is a riveting conversation for our listeners.
Really getting into the minutia here. But I basically, but my other point connected to that, I guess, is I wouldn't mind just not being called up to the U.S. men's national team because I don't know. I feel like
so you're a Darlington Nagby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the pay scaling exactly works, but you're not getting paid by game, right?
No, you are getting paid by game.
Okay, well,
you get a bonus.
Maybe we'll do within that.
You don't want to play with Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna? You want to keep playing in MLS?
Yeah, okay, if I'm in MLS, then you're right. But if I was in Europe, then I'm saying that I wouldn't mind not being good enough for the U.S. men's national team and getting a little bit less of a role if it meant maybe getting a few more international breaks off.
Okay.
I say as I host a podcast about U.S. soccer.
Seriously, why don't we get into the match that happened today?
All right. The U.S. took on Panama following their 0-0 draw against Wales in Austria around 7:45 local time, 2:45 Eastern time, and they got a good win, 6-2. Wasn't looking pretty to start after they conceded a goal in the 8th minute, but. We didn't have any goals to talk about in this game, but in the last game, but we definitely did in this game, y'all.
Yeah, 8 goals. It was a fun game. I think that's the most fun I've had watching the U.S. men's national team, maybe ever. Honestly, I can't think of a time where I was just having that much fun.
I feel like for a friendly, yes. For a friendly, I would agree, but I mean, like, come on, John Brooks' goal does exist.
Yeah, I meant for the entirety of a match, though. I mean, like, Ghana, I was just nervous the entire time.
Well, yeah. Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. But that being said, I think what that speaks to is just how exciting these players are. And what I'm really saying is I've never seen the U.S. men's national team play the way they did today. Honestly, in possession, the freedom in which they played with, the ease in which they were able to move the ball and beat the defenders. I mean, as far as I can tell, this was a Panama, pretty much A team. I mean, there might be a couple of players missing there, but there's a lot of players that, will be playing for them in World Cup qualifying. So it's a team that you're going to have to play in CONCACAF qualification. And, a lot of these guys are trying to make a statement. And if Yunus Musa does decide to play for the U.S., this is our starting midfield. I mean, unless someone even more incredible breaks through, this is going to be our starting midfield for the next, 10, 12, 15 years, which is so exciting. Awesome.
The first thing when this lineup dropped, and I think I even said this on the last podcast, was I wanted to see that midfield get more reps together, and I wanted to see it again. I mean, obviously, like you said, we need to hope and that Musa does in fact want to play for the U.S. But
Right.
I mean, they looked all even more in sync today and looked even better
Absolutely.
than they did against Wales.
Absolutely. Well, why don't we talk about the starting lineup then, since you just mentioned it? You want me to take it?
I can go ahead and take it.
Okay.
Okay, so in goal, of course, you had Zach Steffen, the back line from the left back to the right back. We had Sergino Dest at left back. Two center backs were Tim Ream and Matt Miazga. Reggie Cannon at right back. That switch that Nihal has been talking about and wanted to see. And spoiler alert, I think that was a good shout. Musa, Adams, and McKennie in the midfield. Adams in that deeper lying role. McKennie and Musa ahead of him. Reina on the right wing. Nicholas Giacchini at striker, and Ulianas at left wing.
So, I mean, that's how it's listed. I think Gio Reyna spent most of his time on the left wing, though, especially in the first half.
Yep, that is true, now that I think about it. Yep.
Yeah, and Uli sort of went to the right. So a couple of changes. Nico Giacchini comes in for Sebastian Lletget. Ulianas comes in for Conrad De La Fuente. Reggie Cannon comes in for Anthony Robinson and switches sides. Serginho Dest switches sides. And Tim Ream came in for John Brooks. So I believe that's 4 changes, I want to say. Yeah, 4 changes for the U.S. after the last game. And you could... Well, the lineup, I guess we're talking about the lineup. So I didn't see the lineup because I was in a meeting. I was driving back from COVID testing. I had to drop off the COVID test at the lab, and then I had like a meeting right when I got back. So I actually ended up missing the first 10 minutes of this game. So I didn't really see the lineup until it started. I got a Bleacher Report notification that I forget what it said. But yeah, I mean, I think, it was fine. I think I would have liked to see Chris Richards. That would have been my only gripe with this lineup. Start for the U.S. Tim Ream, I'm just not a big fan of Tim Ream. So
I didn't think he played exceptionally well in this game either.
Well,
we can get into that later.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we didn't really, we're still rusty. I guess we didn't really lay out the podcast today. But I mean, what were your initial thoughts on the starting lineup? Let's just start there.
I mean, I was totally fine with it. I mean, honestly, the first thing that stood out to me was that we were playing a real striker in Nicholas Giacchini in this game, as opposed to Sebastian Lletget against Wales. But I mean, Sebastian Lletget does end up looking like a striker in this game after he scores that, poacher's finish in the 90th minute. But that was the first thing that stuck out to me. Like I said, I wanted to see that midfield stay the same. I agree with you. I would have rather seen Chris Richards, and it was definitely good to see Dest at left back and Cannon at right back. Just get 2 fullbacks that I'm more confident in. Because Anthony Robinson, I did not like his showing in the last game, but like we both talked about, he might be important going forward given the club he's at. And but yeah, and I also like Yanez didn't get much run in the last game. It was good to see him out there. I was fine with that. And I didn't like Conrad's performance so much, so I was cool with that too.
Yeah, I thought Uli played well. So why don't we do this? Why don't we break it down by position group, or like forwards, midfield, a defender/goalkeeper, and just talk about the performances, and then maybe, or do you want to talk about overall tactics first? What do you think?
We can go position groups.
Okay, let's do that. I think we can sort of interweave the tactics into that. So, where do you want to start? You want to start at the back or the front?
Let's start at the front.
Okay, so I mean, like you said, Gio Reyna and Ulianas were playing on the wings with Giacchini in the middle. I didn't watch the first 10 minutes. Was Reyna on the right to start the game? Was that like a switch that happened? Do you know? I know you were in class too, so it's not like you were able to pay that much attention.
I don't think. I was in class, but I definitely. I don't. If he was, then I think Yanez was only on the left for like the first 10 minutes or so. Definitely in that goal in the 17th minute.
Yanez was on the right. Yeah, I started watching in the 10th minute.
Yeah.
So I knew from then on he was on the right. Anyway, like you said, I think we definitely needed a striker, and Gio Reyna alluded to it after the game, and so did Greg Berhalter. They both sort of talked about how they were sort of missing a striker's runs in the box, and something that Greg specifically mentioned was line breaking runs, which is something that just did not happen in the last game, right? So when one of our midfielders picked up the ball high up the pitch, or when Gio Reyna picked up the ball, no one was really making those line breaking runs, right? It was people just dropping and looking for the ball. So no one was trying to get in behind, essentially, is what I mean. And I think Uli Yanez did a really good job of that. Joaquini's movement in the box was really good. And we'll get more into it. But I even think some of our midfielders and the fullbacks, namely Serginho Dest, did a good job of making some of those runs. But yeah, I mean, and I think Reyna looked a lot better on the left. I don't know if that has to do more with him being on the left or with him being, playing with players that more suit his play style. I still think that you want Christian Pulisic on the left. I don't think you want him on the right side. But, you can switch him mid-game. I mean,
right.
At the beginning
depending on who the fullback is guarding them
right.
marking them, and yeah.
Right, and at the beginning of the second half, Reyna actually did start on the right. So, obviously that can be fluid, but I do think Reyna is probably better, cutting inside and dropping deep and looking for across from the top of the box on the left side. So I thought all three played well. Joaquini, obviously, not obviously, but he got the brace. He got 2 goals in not his debut, but his first start for the U.S. men's national team. Reyna also scored a goal. It was our first goal. It was a free kick.
Yep.
And then Joaquini scored 2 in quick succession. So, obviously, you have to say that they played really well. The entire front line, Gio Reyna got a goal. Joaquini got 2 goals. Joaquini obviously missed the penalty that he took to get the hat trick. None of the starting front 3 had an assist, but I thought they linked up pretty well. Uli Yanez, probably the most anonymous player on the front 3 in this game, but I thought he played well. And I think what Uli did really well in this game, and we sort of talked about this with Gio last time, in trying to do too much. Uli kind of has done that too, especially the last time he started for the men's national team back in January. And remember last week I was saying, he doesn't pick his head up enough. He's sort of looking down at the ball and trying to beat his man all the time. I thought he did a really good job of playing simple balls and playing forward and sort of being an engine in the build-up, right? He was finding the right pass that would propel the team forward, which I think is huge for Uli, because he obviously has an incredible amount of on-ball talent, but if he can combine that with, situational and tactical awareness, I think he can be, an incredible player for the U.S. men's national team. And then you have a real, not an embarrassment of riches, but you have 3 guys who can play on the wing, and play on the wing really well. So, I'll stop rambling here. What did you think of the front 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think that first goal from open play, that 22nd minute goal, really kind of shows them all 3 at work. I mean, McKennie wins the ball upfield, gets the ball to Gio Reyna, who's playing in a more central role at that point, and he plays to Uli Yanez on the right, and Yanez takes a strike, and Gioacchini just follows it up. And, I mean, Gioacchini, just beautiful presence, beautiful awareness on both those goals. That second goal from open play, I thought that was just a super cool goal, because I think there was adjustments that needed to be made during the play. So Tyler Adams plays a through ball to McKennie, and McKennie has to sprint to get this and barely gets the cross in. And the cross is not perfect by any means. And Miazga makes a nice adjustment in the air to head it back into the 6-yard box. And Gioacchini is able to make a nice adjustment himself and just deliver a pretty nice header into the left corner of the net. So it really felt like that's the type of goal that it wasn't the prettiest. Like, it's not like everything worked well and was clicking, but players made the right adjustments. They had perfect effort, perfect energy, and perfect focus, and they were just able to convert. I think
that was a vintage Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal right there. That reminded me, one of those like one-touch finishers in the box, and we could use those, honestly. Like that's a quality we need, and frankly, we haven't had. And I'm sorry, I'll let you continue, but I've said this many times on the podcast in previous years. People think that Josie Altidore is that kind of forward. He is not that type of forward, right? He likes to be on the ball. He likes to drop deep and pass it. He's not the type of person. He's not the type of striker that's just going to be in the box and scoring headers or scoring one-touch finishes. That's not who he is. I mean, if you remember when he played with Jovinko at Toronto FC, he was playing deeper than Jovinko, right? And Jovinko would be making those runs off of him. So we haven't had really a striker like that. I mean, it's really only been Josie for the past 12 years.
I think Wando is like...
I mean, a good striker like that.
Okay.
A starting caliber striker. I mean, Brian.
I'm talking about one of the highest goal scorers in MLS history. Is he the highest?
I think he is the highest now. Yeah. I mean, Brian McBride. I can't claim I saw him play that often, but I feel like he was more in that mold than Josie Altidore. And
I think, I agree with you that Josie definitely, there's kind of a misconception about who he is as a player. But I think sometimes he does have the finishing ability and like the awareness to be able to sometimes play that role. I think oftentimes the USMNT had a weak, oftentimes two-man midfield that Josie had to come and help facilitate build-up play. And that kind of minimized his ability as a finisher.
I just think that him and Dempsey occupy the same space too often. And like obviously Dempsey's the one you wanted on the ball. So I mean we don't have to talk about the previous US team, but
there's 70 other podcasts for that.
Well, yeah, Josie I mean is probably going to be a part of this team going forward though. And my point is, I put Josie. I'm not gonna. He's not a false nine, but I think Nico Gioacchini and Sebastian Soto, like those are traditional, quote unquote, number nines. Josh Sargent's sort of a hybrid, I would say, maybe. I mean, I think that's how I would describe him. And I think Josie's more, like if it's a spectrum and Josh Sargent's in the middle and Gioacchini and Soto are on the right, I would say, Altidore's a little bit on the left towards the false nine. I think that might be a hot take, but I think that's sort of how I view it right now. And then you have, Gyasi Zardes, who I think he's more in the traditional mold too. So he is much more of a one-touch finisher.
Yeah, I remember a game against.
You don't want him taking a second touch.
He had a couple like striker goals when he was actually playing striker for the US.
Who?
Rather than on the wing. Gyasi Zardes.
I think he was playing on the wing in that game.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, I mean I'm not 100% sure. You're talking about our comeback.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. When you were on the toilet and I heard you screaming when we scored.
that is what happened. Yeah, I mean, I think it does say something that 5 out of 6 of our goals today, all the goals from open play were headers. I mean, there was that finishing touch tonight, and I honestly think that Orlando Mosquera didn't have a great game. I think there were a couple of those last goals. I think he could have been in a better position.
He's a Panama goalkeeper for those of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some goals that I just don't know if you're getting some of these goals versus better opposition. But I mean, you could say that about, I guess, any goal. But
okay, who do you have to play, right? Who do you have to play to get to the World Cup?
Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico.
The thing is, we have such a hard time. I feel like just scoring those type of goals in qualifying, right? Like, for me, the best person to score a goal like that in the past 2 qualifying cycles was probably Bobby Wood, and that's scary to me. So, like, you want players who can do that, and honestly, like, if you are not the better team and you're not going to have possession, you're not going to have the majority of the possession, you're also going to need to score goals like that, right? Like, you against Belgium in the World Cup, you would have wanted a finisher like that would have been able to capitalize on some of those opportunities. So, I think yes, while it would have been nice to see us play on the ground and score some beautiful goals, in a lot of ways, the build up to our header goals were that, right?
Yeah, I think less so in the second half. I think there was
Agreed.
a bit more. What?
Agreed.
Yeah, like specifically the goal off the 87th minute goal. Tim Weah just played a short corner to Cannon, who just, I mean, plays a great ball into Letjet, but that really had nothing to do with like amazing build up or anything.
No.
But in the first half, yeah, I mean, like that header that I just described, that was Tyler Adams to McKennie to Miazga that touches 3 or 4 bodies in quick
Right.
succession. So,
Or
yeah,
even,
I mean,
even Reyna's goal, like that was that was some really nice build up play.
yeah, Musa did a great job to draw the free kick out to the penalty area, and yeah, that was
Right.
just I might as well talk about it while I'm there. That was a nice low driving free kick from Reyna, and Orlando Mosquera did get a touch to that. Maybe he should have saved it, but it was a good take, really good take by Reyna. And
Yeah.
I think I would that elevates Reyna's performance today because, like you said, I think there was times where he just did not look great. Was trying to do maybe a little too much at points, and
I thought there was less of that in this game, to be honest. But
he's just not impressing me at the. I expected a little bit better out of him in these 2 games, and maybe I shouldn't have. But regardless, he's such a good talent that you can't really like. There's some guys you got to call up even if they're not playing amazing for your national team, and Reyna's one of them when you know how talented he is.
I mean, I think his best position is in the midfield. So, I mean, if Musa does not end up picking the U.S., I guess maybe you could drop him in there. But I thought he played okay today. I thought he was good, honestly. I think, to me, what I wanted to see was him not just take on defenders, not just try to take on defenders every single time. I wanted him to, do what I was praising Uli for, which was play a little bit forward, which I think he did. I think a lot of our players felt like they could beat a lot of the Panamanian players one-on-one. I mean, every single midfielder did it at least once in this game. So I can see where you're coming from. To me, I didn't really have any. I thought he was in the first half, particularly. Maybe the second half, I agree with you, but in the first half,
Yeah, I thought in the second half he was weaker.
in the first half, I thought he was doing a really good job of orchestrating play on that left side and sort of overwhelming the Panamanian right side with Musa, Reyna, and Dest. Like, that is a pretty scary left side.
Yeah. And I guess he did, directly contribute to 2 of those first 3 goals, which is a big deal.
For sure. And I didn't finish my thought last time, but what I was saying was in terms of headers, we are playing with a striker that is a more traditional striker, so play to his strengths, right? Get it to his head if you can. You break down the defense with your great build-up play, and then you serve up a nice ball for your number 9. And I think that's what they did. So I do understand the concern, though. It would have been nice to see one open play goal on the ground, I guess. But I mean, I guess it's not really even a concern that you said. It was just an observation.
No, I don't think it's a concern. It's just I think that it's almost a good thing because if we haven't been able to do that in the past, and I think there's enough flexibility from the types of headers we were getting. Like I said in the first half. Wait, actually, I was wrong about that. I guess 4 out of 5 of the open play goals. My bad, because Gioacchini's first goal actually.
It was a rebound. Yeah,
it wasn't a pretty that. I mean, it was a good build up, but it was off a rebound. The other 4 were headers. But I think it's good that maybe the second half goals were a little more direct, showing us to break down a box. Where I think in the second half it did look like Panama were just dropping deeper, putting more men back, and it was we had to make do of less counterattacking opportunities, and it looks like we were able to capitalize on counterattacking opportunities in the first half and more opportunities against 10 man behind the ball in the second half. So
right, and what I really enjoyed is Jose Fajardo scored both goals. He scored the first goal in the 8th minute, and then in the next 18 minutes the U.S. scored 3 goals. He then scores again in the 79th minute, and in the next 12 minutes the U.S. scores 3 goals. So they did a really good job of responding.
So Fajardo's the man of the match for the U.S.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could. Let's actually just talk about those goals. So the 8th minute. I know you might have missed this, but
I did.
So this is just kind of a bad possession from the USMNT defense. Basically, no pressure in the midfield on that. So Alejandro Yearwood is the left back for Panama. No pressure in the final third. really maybe between the final third and the halfway line, just has all day to line up across, and then Miazga, Ream, neither of them have an eye on Fajardo, who just heads it in. I mean, he basically has a free header, and just didn't really look organized, didn't really look like there was any shot at defending that, and just kind of lazy from the defense there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the first goal. The second goal, it was more they just stopped playing, like you said. Did you say? Yeah, I mean, they just stopped playing because of the offside. So, they thought it was offside.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I think I'm hoping by next spring neither of these players are starting, especially not Tim Ream. I think Tim Ream has the effect where he really brings down his other center back. And what I mean by that is, he, I think, is constantly in no man's land. I think he tries to move up and win balls he can't win. And then he leaves his center back partner either one-on-one or in a compromised position to where it looks like it's his partner's fault. But really, if Tim Ream was in position, they would have had a better chance to defend.
Right. That is true. Because usually, I mean, yeah, if you see that your man isn't properly marking the other defender, then you have to go help. But then it looks like neither man is being marked.
Exactly. And Miazga, I saw a lot of takes that Miazga, sort of played himself out. He did not have a great 2 games, for sure. I think I'm probably higher than most people on Miazga after these 2 games. But Miazga Ream is not a good partnership. They're both slow. They're both not great on the ball. Ream is probably a little bit better on the ball, honestly. And I just think John Brooks is obviously going to be your starter on the left side. So right now,
assuming he's healthy.
Yeah, right now the 2 positions that are really up for grabs are striker and right center back, and then I guess you can argue maybe one of the 2 fullback spots, whichever way we decide to go. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're talking about the defense now. So we'll save the best for last, which is the midfield. So those 2, in my opinion, did not play their greatest games, especially not Tim Ream. And Tim Ream's a solid player. He's just not good enough. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, no, I think Ream and Miazga, I think actually, when you look at both goals, had a fault in both goals. And
right.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the way we're counting. So, I mean, even if they looked, I think they looked fairly comfortable playing it out of the back. I mean, in this game, and that's fine. I mean, everyone, I think, pretty much looked comfortable for the USMNT, so that's good. But I mean, you cannot have those kind of mistakes. And I mean, like you said, they were either trying to play an offside trap or thought they were offside. But I mean, that's kind of how this game works. I mean, you got to know where the guy is. You got to know if they're offside or not. And if you are going to play the offside trap, then play it right. Be coordinated with each other. And Miazga, Ream, and Reggie Cannon, I think, were at fault for that 79th minute goal. For sure. It was a good finish from Fajardo, though.
I don't think it was even a trap. I just think they thought he was offside.
Which is then that's inexcusable, even more so.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch it again, but yeah. I mean, I'm hoping it's Brooks, Chris Richards. I think that's what a lot of us are hoping for. I think even though Aaron Long's had a pretty terrible season, I think he might even be ahead of Miazga. Honestly, I'd like to see Ike Opara, but I think the ship has sort of sailed on that one. It's kind of like Chad Marshall, right? Like Chad Marshall was so good at the end of his MLS career, but it's just too late. So, I mean, Ike Opara, I think, is a 2-time MLS. He's at least a 1-time MLS Defender of the Year in the last few years, and he's been just fantastic. So maybe I don't know if you saw, but Greg said that they're trying to have a December camp. That's basically going to be a January camp, but in December. So maybe we'll see Ike Opara then. Why don't we talk about the fullbacks?
All right, yeah. Sergino Dest, as we said, started on the left, Reggie Cannon on the right.
I thought they were both great.
Good idea, Nihal. I mean, this is not like a revolutionary idea by any means. So I'm just teasing you there. Reggie Cannon on the right, Sergino Dest on the left. Yeah, I mean, I thought at the beginning of the game, at the very beginning of the game, I actually thought that Sergino, I just thought he looked a little more comfortable, like on the right. Or I was thinking at the very beginning of this game, he looked a little bit more comfortable in the last game, but he definitely eased his way into it and became very comfortable as the game went on, linking up with Musa, linking up with Reyna, who was then moved to the left after or whenever he moved to the left, and yeah, maybe the best player on the national team, Sergino Dest, and he showed it again today.
Well, to me, I think Sergino Dest is a lot better on the right, and I think in a lot of ways this game convinced me of that, honestly.
Interesting.
I thought Sergino Dest was really, really, really good today, cutting inside, but what I noticed with him on the left is he has a hard time weighting those balls down the sideline, or down the side. I'm talking football words now. But do you know what I'm talking about? It's when he cuts inside and he lays the ball off to his left. I think he has a hard time weighting those on. Maybe it was just today, but
yeah, that seems like a harder pass to just generally play, right? Yeah.
It is. But when you're left-footed, that's you using your left foot to play it outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're just pushing it forward a little bit. So I mean that's the benefit. Obviously, I think I would like to have seen him maybe take a shot or two when he cut in. I mean, he had a couple of opportunities. But yeah, when he cuts in, like he has so many options. He could switch the ball. He could play it to one of our midfielders, which he did consistently. So I mean, wherever he plays, he's going to be one of the best players on the national team. And you know, Reggie Cannon, I think, is probably the second best fullback in the pool right now. So it's really, you have to decide: are you going to play your two best fullbacks, or are you going to play arguably your best player in his best position and compromise at the other fullback? And it's not an easy decision. And obviously, you know, you can change from game to game. And I think that's something that Greg is still just going to have to figure out. And maybe it depends on the opponent, like who their right and left wingers are and which side you're more willing to, you know, compromise on defense. Reggie Cannon, I think, is probably the best defending fullback, or best, out of their top four fullbacks, let's say. He's probably the best defender still.
I agree with you on that assessment. I do think Reggie Cannon, actually, now that I even watched that first goal again, he was the one who really should have been pressing higher up and not giving Yearwood all day to make that cross.
He did not.
On the second goal.
Yeah, he did not close. He did not close that. Yeah.
I agree. And on the second goal, he also was at fault. So I actually thought Dest. I think Dest was able to really recover pretty well defensively today, and Cannon was more out of position. But Cannon looked really good going forward. So I mean, if you said you know the thing you're missing the most is Dest on that right hand side, playing those balls through to Reyna or Pulisic or whoever it may be on that side. I think Cannon did a wonderful job attacking on that right-hand side too, so maybe you wouldn't be missing that much in that sense.
I just think he's more comfortable, because when you have someone like Pulisic or Reyna cutting inside from the left, you kind of have them occupying the same space, and then one of your center midfielders. Like we saw McKennie making that run on the left side often today, and I mean on the first two goals it worked. Like he was the one playing balls in from the left side of the box, which I mean is fine if that's what we want to do. But I think having Sergino Dest on the right and making that run, and then having one of your wingers, your right winger drop, and having Sergino Dest make the run that McKennie was making on the right side, I think that might be better instead of having, you know, both your left winger and your left back sort of dropping into that space, or not necessarily dropping it, but occupying that space. But I mean, I thought Sergino Dest was probably the second or third best player in this game, honestly. I mean, he's just so good, and it's so much fun to see him. It seems like with every game he gets better. And I mean, my favorite thing about Sergino Dest is he just does random skills to no one. Like, just randomly. It's like those guys you play on FIFA that are just, like, doing roulettes at midfield for no reason. And you're like, what?
No, I a couple times, like, they were showing a replay, and I wouldn't even notice that he did a cool pass or, like, did a skill after he made the pass until after.
Well, you know what I said? What I said in the last episode is he has that ability to make these passes with such subtle movements, right? He barely needs to nudge the ball forward, or he doesn't even need, he can make so many one-touch passes. It's crazy to me. I think, like I said last time, I think that's a real sign of quality in any player. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I thought Reggie Cannon, honestly, on balance, played really well, but you're right. I mean, I didn't see the first goal, but I did see the highlight, like, right before we started recording, and he did fail to press, what was it, Yearwood? Is that who it was, the left back?
Andre Yearwood, yep.
So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just more so that Robinson did not play that well in the last game. We got a lot of time to figure it out, though, and maybe another fullback comes through. You know, DeAndre Yedlin also still exists, so that
is true.
He doesn't play, but he exists.
It just feels like a lot of these players are just so dynamic, right? Like, just the fact that McKennie, like you said, is able to make those runs down that left-hand side and make those passes, and which can allow Des to sit back more. I mean, like, if we're playing against a team where you really, like, let's say Des is playing left back and you really don't want to give up a counter to a super speedy right winger, that you can rely on the midfielders to have that kind of creativity going down the flanks. I mean, it's just exciting to think that there's so many different ways we can play it.
Absolutely. And I think that's honestly the most important thing. And, you know, I do this too. It's like, okay, what's our best 11? What is going to be our 11 every time we trot out at the World Cup? But the best teams don't do that necessarily. So, you know, it is nice to have that flexibility, as you said. I mean, you go through this team. Serginho Dest can play on either side. He could probably even play on the wing. Tim Reed can play left back and center back. Tyler Adams can play pretty much anywhere on the pitch. You know, Weston McKennie, I think, can play any midfield position. Yunus Musa can play on the wing or in the center. So, you know, and Gio Reyna is very versatile too. So all of these guys, and I think that's when you have like that free-flowing soccer, is like when players are comfortable on different spots on the field. You know, Michael Bradley never wanted to leave that center lane.
Exactly.
Which, you know, I don't blame him, but, you know, that's he just never did. So, yeah, it's exciting. Why don't we quickly talk about Zach Steffen before we get to the midfield? You know, I don't think he was. I mean, he really couldn't do much on either goal. I thought he was okay. Like he had a couple. I think, you know, he had decent distribution. He had one really nice punch and one like decent save. I thought there was one time in the second half. I wish I wrote it down. I can't remember exactly where when it was, but I thought he could have caught it, but he ended up punching it and giving the ball back to Panama. You know, those are things he can.
So he only has one save recorded. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a cross. So, yeah, I mean, yes, he made one decent save. That's kind of what I was alluding to. I guess he just didn't make another one. So, I don't know. I think the jury's still out on Zach Steffen more so than people probably realize. But I mean, he is Greg's guy. You know, he you know, when he was in Columbus, and, you know, not to humble brag or brag here, but I was like in that locker room, right? Like I was with Greg Berhalter and Zach Steffen, and Zach Steffen in a lot of ways was the leader on that team, on that Columbus Crew team, and he and Zach obviously he and Greg have a really, you know, good relationship, and you know, I think Zach has a lot of those intangibles where he can organize the defense, which I guess he didn't do a great job of today, but he can organize defense, and he sort of knows what he needs in front of him.
And that's super important, yeah.
It is, and you know, Ethan Horvath right now is sort of struggling with his confidence, and that, you know, when you're not confident, you're not going to be a confident leader. So, and I think the great thing, you know, we'll maybe talk about the personalities at the very end, but I think just sort of the great thing about this U.S. men's national team is there's no shortage of leaders or personalities or people who, you know, are going to speak their mind on the pitch to their teammates, and sort of, you know, they expect the best out of each other. And
yeah, and they want to be out there.
Right. In the past, who was that? I mean, it was Michael Bradley. He you know, he wasn't that vocal, but he was a leader on the pitch. Clint Dempsey was sort of the silent leader type. You know,
I'm kind of struggling, honestly.
Tim Howard.
I think,
yeah, Tim Howard. I mean, Jermaine Jones, I think, was loud. I don't know how much of a leader he was. So, yeah, but you look at Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Zach Steffen, and even Reggie Cannon. You could take any three of those and give him the captain's armband, and it'd be like, okay, I get it. You know, that makes sense to me. So I really like that about this team. Why don't we get to the best part, the most exciting part of the national team, and especially these last two games, the midfield. So as you alluded to earlier, Tyler Adams was sort of playing that number 6 role with Yunus Musa and Weston McKennie up in front of him. It was interesting. In the first half, I saw Weston McKennie being the highest man up multiple times. It sort of looked like Musa and Adams were actually playing next to each other in possession and in defense, and Weston McKennie was sort of playing that number 10 role. There was a time where I saw Weston McKennie being the deepest lying midfielder and Tyler Adams and Yunus Musa being ahead of him. So just, we sort of talked about that versatility and their ability to, change position, and they were able to do that tonight. But I thought it was interesting to me that Weston McKennie was sort of the creative one in this game. And you can just tell his confidence is so much higher than it used to be with those crossfield balls, with his crosses, and with his sort of entry balls into the box. So they all played great. They were all awesome, I think. I think McKennie was probably the best. Maybe Musa. I thought they were both really good. I think Musa was more obviously exciting than McKennie, but they both were. Adams did his thing. I mean, he stayed back. He clogged the passing lanes. He had some nice recoveries. He did get thrown on his butt once.
He also had some very the first half particularly made some kind of dumb challenges, but that's okay.
I mean, McKennie did that too. But it's interesting just all the different places I saw the midfield in this game. You saw Yunus Musa be on the wing sometimes, making a darting run onto the side. You saw Weston McKennie, as I mentioned earlier, on the left side of the box, on the right side of the box, in the center, highest up the pitch, deepest lying. I saw Tyler Adams pick up the ball between the center backs and be higher than the other two midfielders. And to me, that's so exciting. And especially when, again, with the crew, when you think about the crew and the positional discipline that those players had, I think Greg's a good coach.
This whole podcast led up to this moment.
I mean, but we have seen him, talk about you want players in the Champions League. He's not an MLS homer, right? Not at all. I don't think he is at all. And, he recruited Serginho Dest. He got Musa in here. He's given all these young players their debuts. He brought in Uli Yanis.
I don't think we said it off the top, but I think this is the first all-European lineup in a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he brought Uli Yanis to January camp, right? He brought a European player to January camp. But also, I think everyone at the beginning was freaking out because it was Tyler Adams at right back, but that was just him trying something, right? He's clearly not tethered to a system, which is, you want someone with tactical awareness and someone who has a game plan, but they're also flexible, right? Yeah. So you don't want Jurgen Klinsmann, right? But you don't want someone who plays one system and has rigidity in that system.
Right.
It was a couple years ago, Manuel Pellegrini was talking about Manchester City, and he said, the formation doesn't matter, the players do, and then you create the formation around the players. And, that doesn't seem very profound. You're like, duh. But I don't think many managers actually approach it in that way. But when you're at this level, when you're at the national team level, you can only use the players you have in your pool, right? You can't go out and buy a player that fits your system. So you have to be flexible. And
you don't have the reps to teach all the players the system and play it over and over again till it works.
Right. On the flip side, though, since you don't have that many reps, maybe you want to have some consistency. But
sure.
But I think Greg's a good coach. I think he gets a lot of. For me, I feel like Euro snobbery has had a big comeback. I don't know if you've noticed this, but just a huge comeback. I'm just I mean, it's a rant for another time. We want MLS to be good, right? That helps the national team. And just because Greg was a coach in MLS does not mean he's a bad coach, right? he actually was quite good with the Crew, and he's clearly shown the ability to change, and he's gotten the best out of these three marquee players in midfield in the last 2 games. He really has,
Yeah.
And, it would have been easy to be like Yunus Musa's playing right midfield at Valencia, but he knew what Musa played at the youth level. He knew what his strengths were coming into camp, and he played him in this sort of, I don't want to say box to box. I mean, I guess it was box to box, but this central midfield role where he's really, really, really thrived. So I think Greg deserves a lot of credit. Obviously, he made mistakes, with maybe Tim Ream today or Sebastian Lletget at striker. But I think you got to give your national team coach some leeway when they are trying things, but they're trying things with a purpose, right? How are our wingers and our midfield going to look with a more false nine striker or a false nine player, right? And I think it's valuable to gain that information, and Greg acknowledged pre-game and post-game this time that they were missing that last time, and he adjusted, and basically it seems like we're never going to do the false nine crap again. So that's what you want. You want your coach to learn, right? You have Jurgen Klinsmann on one side, and you have Mike Budenholzer on the other side. And Greg seems to be right in the middle, right now at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will say, I mean, yes. Yeah, I will definitely give credit to Greg for adapting and trying new things, but clearly understanding the philosophy that he's trying to implement, and when he changes, executes it for the most part well. At the same time, we do need to, I think, wait until qualifying and make sure this team gets results before we kind of congratulate anyone.
No. I know, but it's encouraging, right, to see that growth. Yes. And we have never seen that in our time as a U.S. men's national team fan, right? We just have never seen it. I mean, we started watching in 2010. Bob Bradley got fired a year later, so I don't really know and I knew nothing about tactics back then, so I can't really tell you. So it's exciting for us to see. Like you said, we do have to do it. We have to do well in qualifiers. But, the thing with Greg, right, is pockets of space. That, the amount of times I had to transcribe his press conferences and type those words, pockets of space, that's what he wants. He wants players popping up in pockets of space, playing the ball quickly, and exploiting open space that the opponent is leaving. And no matter how we achieve it, it doesn't matter as long as we do that. So if he thinks Tyler Adams is going to be able to do that from the right side, right back in a certain formation, and then sort of, playing central midfielder in possession, then that's what he's going to do, right? If he thinks that, if he thinks that Serginho Dest on the left, he's going to be able to do that more. That's what he's going to do. So that is his number one thing. How are we going to exploit space against the team we're playing? And I think that excites me. That's how I want to play. Because you start there, and then you start to make the runs off of the players, and then you start to add the individual creativity, and you have a free-flowing team like you saw today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's exciting. It's the most excited I've been in a while, maybe
ever.
Yeah, definitely. And that's that's one of the reasons I'm back doing the podcast. I mean,
that's true.
Not that I wouldn't want to do it anyway, but I mean, it's exciting to come on and talk about these players, and this midfield is probably one of the best midfielders we've seen from the U.S. in a long time.
What do you mean? It's the best midfield.
I mean, even though these guys, what's their combined age? Like under 60? Like,
well, actually, maybe, yeah. Actually, I think it is, yeah. No, I mean it's true. I think there's always been sort of a weakness in our midfield, no matter what we did. But when you have players like this that can, to me, and this is also a hot take, for a long, long, long time, I thought it should be Weston McKennie as the 6 and Tyler Adams as the more box-to-box midfielder. Because I think Tyler Adams just doesn't get a lot of credit, but in terms of his box-to-box play. But, I think this really works because Tyler Adams, he's about sort of cutting off those passing lanes, and McKennie can sort of recover quickly and win the ball back. And then, Musa, it's sort of the same thing we were talking about last time, but like Musa can pick up the ball and just run at anyone. And McKennie had a couple of incredible runs too. All of them need to improve their final ball, their final pass, especially on the ground from the center of the pitch. There's a lot of passes that hit the defender's foot. And I think that's true for Ulianas too. I saw that multiple times. Do you know what I'm talking about though? Like that final ball definitely does need to improve, but they're young. I mean, Yunus Musa's literally.
I've already seen so much improvement from McKennie. I mean, Weston, I think he's turning into my favorite player. I mean, I talked about this in the last podcast. Work rate incredible. Just goes in for challenges. It doesn't matter that it's a friendly. He was playing this game like it was like it was a World Cup game, but also his passes look more crisp than ever. I'm sure maybe he's learned some things at Juventus, learning from Pirlo, and I'm just so impressed with him. I mean, this is the best I've seen Weston McKennie look in a U.S. men's national team shirt, and it's not even close.
Yeah, well, I think going to Juventus, he has positional clarity. He knows what his job is, and he has the confidence in himself to know that he is the caliber of player to be recruited by and playing for Juventus. So I think that all that combined is he's not just running like a chicken with his head cut off, which is what he had been doing, right? And what he really was doing for Schalke. He was sort of doing everything. Now he has a defined role. He's going to lay the ball off. He's going to play a couple of cross-field passes for Juve, and he can apply that passing ability into the game while also having a more intentional and disciplined defensive play style, in my opinion, where he knows that he has Tyler Adams to cover for him, so he can recover and then make a challenge instead of, obviously he's a little bit reckless sometimes, but I think that has more to do with him defending his teammates or whatever than anything else. But that improvement is really encouraging because I thought, for the past 2 years before this move, I was not ready to give up on Weston, obviously, but I thought maybe he had definitely hit his ceiling at Schalke, right? Like, it was not doing him any good. I feel like he hadn't really improved in the past 2 years. I don't know if you feel the same way, but now to see this kind of improvement,
right?
It
doesn't need to be linear, but it has to come, and it did.
Exactly. And then why don't we spend a minute or two just gushing about Yunus Musa? He's so exciting, man. I don't even know who he reminds. Okay, this is the player I was trying to. He reminds me of a better Musa Sissoko. Like that's who he reminds me of. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And it's not because his name's Musa. It's literally it's the way he just powers through. He's powerful in the midfield in that like he can win the ball and just shoulder off people. But he's also just so technically gifted, and that's just such a hard combination to have. And I think he's a better technical player than Sissoko, which is why I'm saying a better version of Sissoko. And I know there are midfielders who exist like that, but for some reason I can't think of any of them that sort of do that. Even like Decore a little bit in those first couple of games for Everton. That's kind of what he looks like, except more attacking than Decore.
Right. I think you can totally see that plays on the wing for his club,
right?
But can still make a challenge when he needs to, can still play those quick one-touch passes when he needs to. But when you need that attacking spark, he's there. I mean, yeah. I think sometimes you can see that from there are different types of players, but I think Darlington Nagby has shown that before. In the center of the pitch. I
think now he's more sort of like lay it off. Like Iniesta when he was playing center mid, he used to do that, right? Like he used to pick up the ball and just be able to go forward. Obviously his passing ability was otherworldly. So I mean, yeah, I'm not comparing the two players in terms of ability right now, but it's sort of being able to pick up the ball and just be that powerhouse or that engine. I'm just naming chemistry styles in the midfield, and play the ball forward. Also, it's funny. So I just pulled up FIFA just to go and see like if I could find a comp player, just like going through because but just pull up FIFA for a second. So I'll just type in FIFA for a second and look at their front page. But he obviously, I hope he chooses the U.S. I think this is about the best that it could have gone, right? He played well. It seems like he enjoyed his time. Gareth Southgate. Did you pull it up?
Yeah, I just pulled it up. Yeah, there's a lot of Americans in the front page here.
If you scroll down, it continues. No, but Gareth Southgate already said he would love and is hoping that Musa plays for England. So it's going to be a battle, but this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to bring him in. You wanted to have him start, develop a relationship with those other two midfielders. And to me, when you have Weston and Tyler in the midfield with you, those guys are fun. And maybe this is the time to talk about the personality that I was talking about earlier. If you watch like their Instagram videos or whatever, like they just all get along. They all have a really good time. They're all young, right? So they're serious on the pitch, but they're not so serious where it's like, Michael Bradley scowling after the game. They are.
I think it probably helps that a lot of them have similar stories. A lot of them were born in the U.S., grew up for some time in their lives, moved to Europe to join an academy in their teenage years, and they all. I mean, I'm sure they can relate to each other partly because they're all the same age too, or similar ages.
Yeah, but also I think they're all just like
fun people.
Yeah, they're fun people, and people our age, I think, have an easier time connecting online. Like we know they play Fortnite together. They on the broadcast they're talking about how the players in the Netherlands, they meet up and they go to the park or whatever. So there also are more players in Europe now, American players in Europe, that you can build those relationships, right? I do wish we had. So, I mean, we do have Serginho Dest and Conrad de la Fuente in Spain. And so maybe, now, the Catalonian contingent of the U.S. men's national team can sort of get together and, have with Musa and sort of develop that relationship and continue to be in his life and be like, we're going to be a part, we're going to be a part of that community. Also, I know Valencia is not Catalonia technically, but you know what? You know what I mean.
Yes, I do know what you mean. I just really hope that he picks the U.S.
Yes, I also really hope he picks the U.S. too. But like I said, I think this is the best it could have gone. Why don't we quickly talk about the subs, because, they deserve some credit too. The subs that came, Timothy Weah and Johnny Cardoso came on together. Richie Ledesma and Sebastian Soto came on, and then Sebastian Lletget and Chris Richards came on. Obviously, Sebastian Soto scored 2 goals. Yeah. Yep. And then Richie Ledesma had 2 assists. And dude, I've been telling you how high I am on Richie Ledesma, right? Like, I love Richie Ledesma. And he comes in, he makes his debut for PSV Eindhoven, he has an assist. A week later, he has his debut for the U.S. men's national team and has 2 assists. He just makes stuff happen, right? And if Musa's not there, he's the guy. He's the guy that's going to be playing there, in my opinion. So it's not bad. It's not a bad option. Obviously, you'd love to have both. Sebastian Soto, I think, still has the ability to become the best striker in this pool, and you kind of see it, right? He's just good. He's clinical. What did you think of those two?
Yeah, I mean, they both paired on the 83rd and the 92nd minute goal. Ledesma had that beautiful cross to Soto on the 83rd minute goal. That was probably maybe the best pass of the game. And in the 92nd minute, Ledesma plays a different kind of ball, a more long kind of switch fields type of ball that really goes over the head of Mosquera, and so Soto's there to finish it. That one was a bit more of an easy header for Soto than the first one, but yeah, Yeah, I mean, they both linked up, they both scored, and I mean, it's hard to do that when you're coming on and you only get a little run and you get 2 assists and 2 goals for each of those players respectively. So, I mean, what more can you ask of them? I mean, in the time that they were out there.
Exactly. And those are the two guys in the Netherlands. Hopefully, Sebastian Soto is in the Eredivisie. He's owned by Norwich, and we need him to play, and for the U.S. men's national team to be able to get a work permit. So, that's something that needs to happen for him to be able to play in England. I was not a huge fan of the move, going just to be loaned out, but, because I think he can play at a much higher level. I think he could easily play in the Eredivisie, but, he's scoring. He's scoring goals, so that's what matters right now. Ledesma also, like I said, he made his debut. Hopefully he can continue to show some promise there. Timothy Weah, I thought, he at the beginning when he first came on, he looked rusty. He wasn't sharp. But I think in the last 5-10 minutes, he looked good. He looked like the old Timo Weah we saw before his injury. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. He was definitely progressive. I thought he was always looking to get forward and be part of the attack. Yeah, I mean, he didn't, like you said, I think he really eased into the game as it went along.
I still don't know what his best position is either. So he's sort of a victim of being versatile. What were you going to say? What do you think?
No. I was just going to make a joke. And then I decided not to.
Ah, okay. That's good podcast content right there. Johnny Cardoso, again, I thought he looked good. To me, he's what I call a shuttler. He picks up the ball and he passes it forward from that deep lying position. And, kind of like a discount Sergio Busquets. Sergio Busquets can obviously hit a long ball because he's used to be fantastic. But you know what I mean, though, right? He gets the ball and he passes it to the guy in front of him that's forward.
Right. I do think he did play a minor part in the 79th minute goal.
Yeah, he did.
Where it looks like he was in good position to win the ball back from Ayarza and then just it's got a touch on the ball, but then let the ball just go through him basically, and which allowed Omar Browna to set up Fajardo on that last goal for Panama. But I mean,
I think he's better suited to. I think he's better suited to have another deep lying midfielder next to him rather than 2 midfielders in front of him. But he shows he's, I don't know, he shows some promise. I mean, he could be a valuable player off the bench going forward. Sebastian Lletget came on and he scored, a header. And he's just a solid player. People were crapping on him after the last game, he should never play again, blah blah blah. What is wrong with people? I don't know, whatever.
I do not think he's a bad player. I didn't like him starting at striker as we discussed, but like I said at the beginning of the podcast, he had a striker's finish in this game.
Right, and frankly, he's probably the second best American player in MLS right now, behind Jordan Morris. So, I mean, not including Darlington Nagbe. I think I would love to have Darlington Nagbe in this team. And then Chris Richards. I almost said Chris Richardson. Chris Richards was the final sub. He made his debut. He looked good. He looked solid. I mean, he didn't really have to do anything, but he was solid. And that's what you want. He didn't look like he was out of his depth or out of place. I mean, this is a guy that started for Bayern Munich, so, I mean, at right back, albeit. But
I would have liked to see, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, now that I think about it more, it would have been nice to see him start this game. Because Tim Ream, I mean, he's 33 years old. He's on his way out. I mean, Chris Richards. What?
We know who he is, right? We know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I think the problem was it wasn't a choice between Chris Richards and Tim Ream. It was a choice between Chris Richards and Matt Miazga for that right side. So, I think as long as we don't have a second left-footed center back behind John Brooks, I think it's going to be Tim Ream. I'm not, I don't really care that much. I think you can play 2 right-footed center backs, especially if they're both really good. But, I mean, especially if you just have one that, of the quality of John Brooks, I don't think, you need a backup for that. But, Tim Ream, I think the idea was that Des is going to be on the left so he can sort of cover, but he can't cover. So, I don't know. Any other thoughts on this match, Sahil? I mean, it was fun.
Yeah, no, it was really fun. Good result. I was getting a little worried after that early goal from Panama, but the U.S. definitely responded very quickly. And I'm looking forward to the next international break. This was overall positive. I don't think, I don't think many players' stock went down. I would say Anthony Robinson for me. I mean, he only played against Wales, but like
Conrad maybe.
Yeah, Conrad, I'd say.
And then maybe Miazga.
But these aren't players that don't deserve to ever be called up again, obviously.
No, of course not. Robinson has been really good for Fulham, and he just has to translate that to this level. And, again, there was no Christian Pulisic. Like, that... We scored 6 goals without Christian Pulisic on the pitch. That's not insignificant.
This is true. Yeah, it was a good international break. Learned a lot, and it's good to just see the U.S. back out there again. But like I said, I still don't want to make any proclamations until we can get some results in qualifying.
Absolutely. That March, man. I think March is when we're playing next. So it's going to be a long 3 months.
But we got lots of exciting club soccer to watch with these guys with these Americans playing in exciting games and Champions League games in some cases. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, yep, and hopefully we have Yunus Musa as the next dual national playing for the U.S. in the next competitive window. It's going to be a fun summer though. We have the Nations League. We have the Nations League. We have the Gold Cup, and we have the Olympics. So there's going to be a lot of U.S. soccer this summer. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I think if you get Musa, you get Dest. I mean, you can't feel that bad about Jonathan Gonzalez after that, right?
Oh, dude, what has Jonathan Gonzalez done?
Exactly. But I remember people being so heartbroken about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different place now. I mean, I think I would be sad if Richie Ledesma chose Mexico, but we'll see about that. I mean, Timothy Weah could choose Liberia. Sebastian Soto could play for Chile still, so I mean, those guys though, it feels like they're pretty committed. Same with Gio Reyna. Like, he was like, I can't wait to play with these guys again. Like, Gio Reyna's not going to play for England, so yeah.
I forgot that was even in question. I mean, technically, yeah.
I think he has another eligibility too, but whatever. All right, man. Should we wrap it up? I think I don't have much more to say about this match.
Yep. I think that's about it. You can email us at soccerbrothersPodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram @soccerbrospod for those handles. Like us on Facebook. Leave us a review, a rating if you enjoyed or if you didn't enjoy. And thank you for listening if you made it this far.
Thank you guys so much. As Sahil said, leave a review. Follow us. I don't know why I'm reiterating everything you're saying, but do all of that. Do all of that. We'll see you guys next time. We don't know when is that even going to be?
I mean, maybe next Monday, or we can try to get a podcast out after watch a couple Americans next weekend.
Ooh, I like it. We're just, you know what? We're leading into it. We're an American soccer podcast now.
Maybe we could also watch one just like high octane. Is that even the right word? Is that what that means?
I mean, no. Kind of. It
could. Just like two, great teams playing or something, an exciting game on the slate, and along with a couple American performances.
Sounds good, man. All right, I'll see you next time, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for listening.